This week is a good week. Yay! I'm out of hospital and I reached 1,000 subscribers, and I have so much to just say thank you for all of the amazing messages of get well and hope you're okay. You guys are so sweet. You're the best. Thank you. And thank you for watching my videos and being so supportive. And as I said, at 1,000 subscribers, I would answer all of your questions. So if you didn't see that short, it was on my Instagram. And if you missed that completely, I will put links down below to my Twitter, Instagram, so you can get those things ahead of time for next time. So without further ado, it is time for your questions. Let's go. First question is from Bo Derek, who asks, which English dish / dirty snack have you missed the most while living in Sweden? I think mine would be roast beef and Yorkshire pudding and Greg's sausage rolls. That's a hard one actually. Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding is definitely like my favorite meal from England, but I can make it in Sweden, and I have my family's Yorkshire pudding recipe as well. Although I have to make them in like cupcake trays because I don't have a Yorkshire pudding tray. I need to get one from England really, but I think fish and chips. Honestly, like I never had fish and chips that much in England, but I just haven't had them here ever really. It like there's a lot of good fish, don't get me wrong, and I'm from like the Gothenburg area, so there's definitely a lot of good fish, but I haven't ever had like fish and chips, you know? So yeah, I think probably that. Snacks definitely would be crisps, right? Or sausage rolls. I don't know, sausage rolls is definitely a good one, but like a farmhouse sausage roll, that's amazing. Marianne asks a very similar question. What do you miss mostly from the UK? And this is easy. This is without a doubt my mum. My mum is the best. Oh my god. I had a whole year, if you've seen my other videos you know this already, but I had a whole year where my boss in Sweden would not let me take holiday at the point where my mum could take holiday. So I didn't see her for a whole year, and then COVID happened, so now it's been almost 2 whole years since I've seen my mum, and I miss her so much. She's the best. She's my best friend, she's my therapist, she's just everything. And I don't have a relationship with my dad, so she's like my mom, she's my dad, she's my best friend, she's my therapist, she's everything in the world. Like, I'm a mama's girl, definitely, through and through. Rastendu, I don't know how to say that, asks, since you live on the West Coast, have you been to all the amazing places? That's a lot of place names. Just to name a few, yeah. I think it's the most beautiful part of Sweden. Love your channel, mate. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. Actually, one of the things I'm really looking forward to about growing my channel is that I want to get to the point where I can actually afford to travel not just around all those areas, but also around the entirety of Sweden. I really want to go to the north of Sweden and go to some of the like more quieter places. Obviously I want to go to Stockholm. I've actually never been. But yeah, definitely some of those places I have been to, and I'm not nearly as well traveled as I would hope to be. So I'm really looking forward to traveling. Kuro Dani, I lived in the UK while studying abroad for a semester, but I was constantly looking the wrong direction when crossing the streets, and I never even tried driving on the wrong side of the road. Did you find it difficult to get used to Swedish traffic? Okay, yes. I think I can almost tell you a horror story. The very first time I drove to Sweden, but I won't because I'll probably horrify people. But basically I almost went the wrong way around a roundabout. There was no one there, so it's really difficult to know, like, it was just the way the roundabout, okay, oh my god, I have to explain this now. Okay, so usually when you get to a roundabout, you like pull up and you can tell that you have to go like to the right in Sweden. It's really obvious. Obviously when you pull up in England you're going to the left, so it's the other way around, and you always have that kind of like the road goes to the way you're meant to be going, right? So it's really obvious. But this roundabout was one of the first that I hit in Sweden, and I don't know, Like, it was the first roundabout, because I drove from England to Sweden when I first came here. And I was obviously I was in an English car and I was driving on the English side of the road. And then we got the ferry and we got off the ferry in Hook of Holland. I was driving on the other side of the road, but still in an English car. So that was really confusing, but most of it was just motorway, so it was totally fine. And then when I hit Sweden, I got to a roundabout. But this roundabout was like so strange because it was really like dead on, you know, like it wasn't pulling you around to the other side of the road, and I was so tired and I honestly almost went the wrong way around. Anyway, it's much easier when there's traffic there because you can kind of see where everyone else is going, but I really quickly, after that like almost moment, I was terrified that I would cause an accident, so I was really careful, and I've never actually had any issues driving. I think the trick is just to remember that you should be in the middle of the road, and as long as you're in the appropriate car for that side of the, like for that country, it's totally fine. So in England, you drive on the left, but your driver's seat is on the right. So you're in the middle of the road, if that makes sense, right? And your passenger is on the edge of the road. So it totally makes sense. And yeah, when you're in Sweden, it's the other way around. I think the only difficult thing comes when you're driving an English car on Swedish roads on the left, right. Oh my God, I'm confused already. That is quite tricky. I'm glad I sold my car really quickly because I didn't enjoy driving an English car on Swedish roads. That was like really terrifying. XOP. You asked, I can't recall if you've mentioned this in another video, but why did you choose Borås to move to, and how did you make friends? I always hear that Swedes are quite shy. Okay, actually I didn't choose Borås. I didn't choose like anywhere specific to live really. The way it worked was really strange. My rent was coming to an end in England, and I had a bit of a kind of crazy breakup with my ex, and even though we hadn't been together for a while, he was like coming to my old apartment and like standing outside, and I was like waking up in the morning and finding cigarette butts, like the ones that he was smoking, outside my back door and stuff. And then I'd go to work and be like, has he been outside my house while I've been sleeping? Anyway, so my now partner said, because we had like police involved and stuff, obviously, like it was getting a bit crazy, and he was like, you know what, why don't you take a break, you know, from England, travel a little bit, have a bit of a fresh start for a year or something, and just come to Sweden. So I did that, and we were at his parents', well, his dad's house for a little bit, and then his cousin actually was moving a few weeks after I had come to Sweden, which was perfect. So we took over her old apartment, and yeah, we didn't really have a choice on where we ended up. So it was pretty cool actually though. When I first came here, I was really excited because Borås has this really nice lake that goes through like the main town center. But honestly, the longer I've lived here, the more I want to move. It's not really anything like bad with the area because I feel like the area is really safe and it's very clean and it's nice. It's really pretty. I just don't feel like there's much of a community, and I've grown in the countryside and I really like that. So I really want to move to Alingsås. That's like where I want to be, but it's difficult to get there. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, I didn't choose Borås basically, but it is a nice area if you're thinking of coming here. Oh, and how did I make friends? Mostly through work, I guess. I think there's some really great ways you can meet friends in Gothenburg because there's a lot of like groups, like English speaking or whatever language speaking, and they'll like do meetups and stuff. So if you can kind of search for those, they're a really good way apparently to meet people. I know people that have met people from that, and there's like, you know, hobby things that you can meet people that's like into board games. I think a few of my friends made quite a lot of friends from Sci-Fi Store in Gothenburg, if you're familiar with that. It's a really cool shop, by the way. I love that shop. But at their back they have, obviously it's not open now, I don't think it's open now, but at the back they have a cafe and they do events there, and you can go and play Dungeons and Dragons if you're into that kind of thing. So yeah, that's also a cool way to meet people. But yeah, I think Swedes are shy until they kind of get used to you being around, you know? And then they're like anywhere else. The Snow Goofer, one, amazing name. Lots of respect for that. And two, you asked pretty much the same thing, why Brit, so I won't answer that again. But you did say the place with the most rainfall in Sweden is about 1 meter annually. Was it to make you feel right at home weather-wise? And I don't know why people keep saying this, because this rains so much friggin' more than England. I swear to God, I've never seen so much rain in my life. No. You have more rain. Trust me, please. You have more rain. Samantha asks, does Sweden have free Wi-Fi in public places? And how's the COVID situation over there? One, yes, they do pretty much everywhere, like coffee shops and libraries, and even in the supermarkets as well. So yes, it's free Wi-Fi pretty much everywhere, and the Wi-Fi is really good here. Sweden has crazy internet. It's so good. And how's the COVID situation over there? Honestly, I find it difficult to answer that, because it kind of depends on which newspaper you look at and who you talk to. I feel like some people are saying that Sweden is in complete crisis right now, and that, you know, not having lockdown completely backfired on Sweden, and it's like, everyone's like dropping like flies. And then some people are being like, yeah, it's totally fine. So I don't know. M. Holm, is that how I say it? M. Holm? Holm? Says, hey, I have been watching most of your videos. You make me smile a lot. Thank you so much. And also, it's really good that you only watch most of my videos, because, I mean, they're all shit, but like some of them are like really, really shit. So like, just trying to avoid those. Kind of hard to find a question when myself and I are from Sweden, but I will give it a try. What's your top 10 like about Sweden, and what's your top 10 worst things you dislike about Sweden? Take care. Thank you very much. Take care as well. Okay, well, that's kind of a whole video in itself, so I'll do two if that's okay. I'm sorry you're kind of shortchanged on that one. One thing, let's start with the dislikes to get that out of the way. Okay, this is really controversial. It's definitely not the majority. It's not even that common, I would say, for Swedish people. But there's a certain type of Swedish person that is very, let's just say knowledgeable, shall we? I'm trying to put it in a really like delicate British nice way. But essentially, they just kind of come across as like an arrogant know-it-all, and they don't really tend to take your opinion or anything you know into consideration at all. And those kind of people really irritate me. They are so annoying. They don't bring anything to my life that I value. Honestly, it's not like the amazing people that come and they're like, oh, by the way, did you know this? And they tell me something really interesting, and like they don't assume that you already know it. So I find it very polite and friendly, and I love people when they do that. And like, even when I get something wrong, the people that like, there's a lot of Swedish people that are like, actually, you know, it's more like this in this culture, or like more like that, I find. And you're like, oh, okay, well, fair play, you know, fair enough. We can't all know everything, and I like that. But yeah, these people, I find they're easier to find in Sweden. I don't think it's specifically a Swedish thing. But yeah, I really dislike that. It's really irritating. Okay, so one thing I really love. This is really weird, and as I was going through these questions, I was actually emailing one of the viewers, and you know who you are, and I know you do, and you're probably laughing right now. And you're gonna laugh even more when you realize what it was that you actually made me think about, but this is so weird. This is such a weird thing to appreciate about Sweden. Like, honestly, you've heard it all at this point. I really, not just like, I really love that Swedish guys have such a good sex education when it comes to female anatomy and everything in that direction. I'm sure not everyone, but like every Swedish guy that I have met and had like some kind of level of friendship with, they just bring up like periods and stuff like that as like a common thing, like exactly what it is, a natural thing. I know there's probably a lot of Swedish people that are like, is she high? Let me give you some context. In England, I don't know if I'm unlucky, but it's such a taboo thing. Like, you don't talk about needing sanitary towels around men. You don't talk about tampons. Tampons are disgusting. If your bag fell over and tampons went everywhere, guys would be really embarrassed and like, ew, oh my god, what the hell, you know? So you feel kind of disgusting as a woman sometimes, and you can feel really ashamed of something that's perfectly natural. But here, people are not just like okay with it. They're like, do you need any help? Can I do anything to help you? They're super considerate. They're very understanding that you get hormonal, and I think it's amazing. I love that about Sweden. Terence says, have you applied for, this is permanent residence, it's necessary now after Brexit. I applied back in December and I'm still waiting for this to come through. Someone actually replied saying that you should probably chase this up because they got theirs, and I actually definitely agree with them. You definitely should, but I already had mine before Brexit happened. I did mine, I don't know, I did mine a little while ago anyway, because I had like the right of residence because I'm a EU citizen, so I had the right to like work and stuff here. Then I had a right of residence because I am here with my partner, so I had like 2 rights of residence. It was really strange. And then because I had been here with my partner for a certain amount of time, I was told that I could apply for a permanent residence. So I already had that before Brexit. But it was a struggle, definitely. Nesta says, you know what? There's no wrong answer, of course, as long as you don't pick Canal. Oh my god. I'm gonna say Canal because I have more of a chance of saying this, and I don't know why, but for some reason, I absolutely cannot say the other one. I know you want me to say it now. I know you want me to say it, but I can't. Like, I'm not joking you. I don't know why this word is so hard for me to say. Kladkaka? Is that right? Like, because I feel like I say it wrong every time. Kladklaka? Kladklaka? I don't know. It's a really hard word for me for some reason. But, yeah. It's probably the tastier one, but because it's the harder word for me to say, then I'm gonna go with the other one. Yeah, sorry. Yix asks, are you into women? Are you bi, straight, etc.? I actually found this really interesting question because I had never sat down and asked myself what I am, you know, in terms of like those labels. And this just kind of like it actually honestly kind of blew my mind because I realized I had never sat down and thought that. For me, who you fall in love with is who you love, and I'm just appreciative and happy to have found someone to love, right? At the moment, I'm with a man, so I guess you could label me straight, but if I had fallen in love with a woman, I would have still been happy that I found love, right? So, I don't know. To me, I haven't really labeled myself. I guess that openness to potentially being with a woman, people would call me bi, but I wouldn't call myself bi. I wouldn't really call myself anything. I just go with the flow, you know, and I fell in love with a man, so maybe some people would call me straight. I don't know. Again, to me, it makes no difference, you know. I don't really know the whole labeling. Why people label? Espacio asks, do you see yourself living in Sweden forever? Would you like to explore living in another part of Sweden as well? Yes, I definitely would love to live in another part of Sweden. I'm really curious about the north of Sweden, although it's not really that practical for work, I think, especially for my partner. But I don't know whether I would stay here for the rest of my life. I definitely didn't think I would. After the pandemic, it definitely did change my mindset of living in a different country because, you know, you always think like when you go to a different country, oh, it's this far away from home, you know, home being like family or whatever. So for me, Sweden was never that big a deal because it's only, what, an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute flight if you're unlucky, like if the wind's against you. So it's pretty quick, obviously, if you go through airports, and that takes a lot of time. But like you can get back to England in an evening. It's not that bad. You know, if you go to the airport that evening, you will be in England with your family. So I've never really thought of it as that big a deal, but obviously after the pandemic, it definitely put a new perspective on living abroad. I'm not certain of it, but it's a possibility, I suppose. Yeah. Pretty much I just go by year to year. Like at the end of each year, I'm like, yeah, another year. We'll see, another year. And then at the end of that year, okay, another year, whatever. Thank you so much for all of your questions. I really enjoyed answering them. Of course, if you have any others, and like smacking my laptop. I think I might do a live stream as well. So maybe 2,000 subscribers, I'll do a live stream Q&A. If you want, let me know if that's something down below that you would be interested in doing and watching. Thank you so much. 1,000 subscribers. I know that sounds like nothing on YouTube now, doesn't it? But it does to me. It really does to me. Like 1,000 people, actually over 1,000 people now at the time of recording, have clicked that subscribe button saying they want to see more from me, and that's just, it's blown me away. Like 1,000, like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine being in a room with 1,000 people? Oh, this is crazy. It's crazy. I love making these videos, so thank you so much. And I will see you next time. Bye!